We made it. We're here. We've moved to the south of France after spending 4 years in Dubai. We got here about a week ago. We took a flight at 3 a.m. From the UK, got here for about coffee time, got the keys, moved into this really cool apartment, which we're going to be staying in for a couple of months before we spend a bit of time across Europe in the summer and then back to France properly, permanently, to move into a longer term place from September. So in this video, I want to talk to you about how I really do believe over the last couple of 4 years, moving from country to country, how change is just as good, if not better, than rest when you're trying to do any kind of personal development, whether it's business or, like I say, personal. So when we got here, firstly, the main thing about France is it feels familiar, right? So we spent 4 years in the Middle East. Before that, we're in the UK. And France and the UK, we feel so much more familiar here. So immediately there's a different energy change. I think that's important as I go into this next sort of step of the video where I want to talk to you about Dubai, right? So why did we leave the UK for Dubai in the first place? We left because we believed that we were from the southwest of the UK and that we couldn't do what we wanted to do, i.e. start a business, quit our jobs, monetize our skills in that small, quiet place. We had to go somewhere. And Dubai is a frontier city. It's a place where people are working hard. Yes, they're hustling, maybe not always for the right reasons, but they are moving forward. They're putting everything into making their lives better for the future, building a legacy. And so we went there. It was a place where we could literally reinvent ourselves. We could take advantage of network. We could take advantage of just everyone having this buzz of moving forward and trying to achieve something more for themselves. And that's the kind of energy that we couldn't find in the UK where we were. And it was a chapter in our lives where we really wanted to make a change. I was 27 when I moved there. I felt like it was something I needed to do. I needed to supercharge everything. I needed to have the hardest challenge I could possibly face, which was to go from living in a house in the southwest of the UK with a job to going and living in the Middle East, starting a business. It couldn't have been more. And perhaps in some ways in those first few months, it felt like it was far too much. But once we got going, it was quite an incredible journey. And the energy that we needed in Dubai was, like I say, super high. We needed to be around people pushing hard so that we could learn as quickly as possible. It was a risk that we took and we needed the risk to pay off. And that was a chapter there was no regrets. It was a very, very interesting chapter. I think business itself is the fastest and hardest way of achieving self-development. And Dubai amplifies that even more, or the UAE amplifies that, because it will push you in one direction. You could have an amazing week, an amazing month, and you'll never be anywhere near the people that are doing the absolute best. And that can be hard, right? That's the cost of Dubai. But equally, you're looking at people, we've had clients or people in our networks in the UK and across Europe, and we were moving faster than them for many reasons, but probably the one because you are just burning the candle at both ends. You are working as hard as possible and you are innovating. You're at the forefront of what's going on. But for that exact same reason, it had a shelf life for us. So 3.5, 4 years was more than enough. We said we would do 3 to 5 years there. And after that, probably 3 years, we started to say, okay, we've had enough here. We've achieved what we wanted to achieve. Now it's time to start planning the next step as we get towards our 30s. And so it's not a regret at all. It's probably the best decision I ever made after having my car crash in 2022, deciding I was going to start a business and go all in on bet on myself as an entrepreneur, being able to monetize my skills from literally zero up to where we got to, or are still achieving now, to be honest. That is what Dubai was amazing for. And so the change from being tired in my job, renovating properties, working all the hours I had, to going to Dubai and working even more hours, but feeling more energized. And over the years, that sort of wears out and you decide to, you feel like it's a lot, it's too much maybe. And so we started to look at where we would move. Now, obviously there are a lot of benefits of living in the UAE or somewhere where it's super tax efficient. And you start to look around the world at other places you could potentially move, places that, have amazing tax laws or ways to save the money that you are making, because obviously you've put all of your heart and soul into your business. And so to have to start paying some of it away or all of it away is quite a big, it feels quite strange. It's difficult. But if you take that out of the equation, you start to look at, well, where would you live if you could choose anywhere in the world? And not just because you want to live near family, or not just because it looks beautiful, but it fits with your values, your philosophies. maybe it feels familiar to you. Maybe it feels like you could live there longer term. You could build something for yourself and your family. Well, that's why we chose the south of France. In particular, the south, because of the climate, the close proximity to the Mediterranean Sea, the weather, the mild winters, obviously all the food, but also you can get to the mountains and ski, you can get to the sea, you can get to Italy, you can get to Spain very, very easily. You know, a lot of these places you can get to so quick, and the food here is quite incredible. And it's incredibly multicultural. There's a lot of expats from the US, from the UK, all over Europe. And there's a lot of business networks. That was a really big one for me. I needed to be somewhere that had a cool lifestyle, but I could still tap into a business network for my own business, for my own sanity, but also for the podcast. You know, we've built our podcast up to a place that I don't want to just let it go. I'm going to be flying back to the UK very often. So where we are in the south of France, there are 9 flights a day to the UK, to London. And there's a lot of people here who are interesting, and there's groups we've already been invited to that are allowing us to be here. I think that's a really, really big part of moving, matching energy. The energy here is, of course, slower. It's a slower pace of life than in Dubai, but that's because there's a larger demographic of people. In the UAE or in Dubai, I think there's maybe 1 million kids. There's no one over the age of, or very, very few people over the age of 60. So most people are of working age. I think it's maybe a 5 or 6 million population. I could be wrong there. Most people are of working age, so you don't really see people that are retired. You can't retire there. So people that are slow or young, it's more people in between who are professional. And that drives that pace forward. Whereas in France, of course, it's like any European city. There's a massive age gap or age group differences. And that changes the pace of life. Things are not just built so you can hustle and work hard. And that's kind of what we wanted. I wanted to be able to go and sit at coffee shops and bring clients down here who, you know, there's a client flying down next week from the UK. We wanted to be able to build a life that we were proud of and that we could see living forever and not burning out, not having to become someone that we're actually not. And so that's the sort of cycle that we're in now. That's the chapter that we're in now. It's a different kind of energy. It's a different kind of crowd. And I think what's really important is to remember not to follow the crowd. So at 27, we left the UK, a very safe environment. No one else we had known at the time had left the UK to go and start a business from scratch. We spent our time in Dubai doing exactly what we could do to build a business. And then we moved to France to live our dream lifestyle, which is the exact plan we had 4 years ago when we started this whole journey of, you know, we're going to stop our jobs and we're going to start a business. And so at no point have we copied the crowd. You know, I think staying in the past is an expiry date. It creates an expiry date. If you're copying people, you are literally watching them as they move away from you. And so what we're doing is moving to different chapters of our lives to try and stay ahead of the curve. But now I feel like we've got to a point where we can just stay here, and France is an incredible place for that. So this chapter is about change being as good as rest. You know, it's about how can we give the most to our clients? How can we authentically show that we are growing our businesses and we are happy, newly married, and we are in this cycle, this chapter of just helping other people as much as possible and building this community around what we do, which is helping others monetize their skills exactly as we did. That's what I want to talk to you about today. Plenty more videos to come.